Well, it finally happened. I've been spotted. Check it out. All right, Vinyl Community, Jeff here. And yeah, over the weekend, I was out and about and did not intend to go to this place, but we had to stop by to drop off a package at UPS, and it was right next door. We were in the area to right next door to the place that I've talked about before called the Painted Tree Boutique, which I know some of you all have them in your state. I thought they were mostly a local place, but turns out they're all over, and some of you all have said, yeah, we got one of those in our town. Typical place where they rent out booze to people and people sell their wares. And unlike an antique mall, the stuff tends to be new. Some things are handmade, some things are homemade, some things are just t-shirts, some things are, dehydrated candy, knickknacks, socks, all kinds of stuff. In this particular one, after months of being there, somebody opened up a vinyl booth, and I have shown things that I've gotten there. The guy gets some stuff. I don't know where he gets some stuff from, but he's recently gotten a bunch of sealed stuff. Anyway, I think the last batch of stuff that I showed that I got there included the still sealed copy of the Black Sheep album. There were some other things I got there. But there were, at the time when I bought those, I left behind a couple albums that I'll go back, and if they are there next time I go, then I will go and get them. And so, actually, I picked these up probably a week earlier than this past weekend. I just haven't shown them. So I'm going to show them, but first let me explain what happened to me this weekend. So we go there. We had to drop something off, like I said, UPS next door. So I said, I'm going to run in there, see if anything new came in, because this guy must go to shows or something and get stuff periodically. So I thought I'd check it out. I went in there. There was nothing new. But while I was in there, there was already a guy there looking at records. And I saw him pick up to buy a couple records, which were ones that I already had, but great stuff, including the Warrior album. He had the TSOL album. So it's stuff that I already had, but it was like, oh, cool, good taste in music. Anyway, he's doing his stuff. I'm doing my stuff. It's a real small booth. And then he looks up and he goes, hey, you're Jeff from YouTube. So there. Turns out he was down in town visiting from Maryland, and I had seen that I mentioned this place on a video, and so he went to check it out. But I got recognized. It was kind of weird. That's the second time I've been recognized from YouTube. First time from this channel. Real briefly, my wife and I have another channel, and I think it's linked somewhere on my channel, for geocaching. We go out and do geocaching, if you're familiar with it, treasure hunting type things using your phone. We've done that for about as long as I've done this channel, but we haven't done it as regular. And honestly, in the past year or two, we've done only a couple videos. But we were doing it pretty regular in the earlier years, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, for a while. And one time, we were out and about in town, local, and there was a string of geocaches that were placed, and there was an event going on that caused us to go find them. They were all in a reasonable amount of walking distance away. And while we were doing this path of geocaches, we saw another guy who, when you see people walk around with their phone, you kind of get that second sense that guy's geocaching too. And caught his attention and said, hey, we were having a hard time finding one. And we're like, I assume you're a geocacher. Did you find this one? He goes, yeah. And he helped us, to kind of zoom in on it a little better. And he could see I was making a video. And he said, yeah, I've seen y'all's videos on YouTube. Now, that was a local guy recognizing me. It's not like I have a local channel. It's a YouTube channel. But that was interesting. That was a couple years ago. But this is the first time for the Vinyl channel, I believe, that anybody has, from out of town, happened to call me out here locally. And I feel so bad. We talked about music a little. I told him some albums that I like. I told him I really like the Warrior album. I hope he does, because I feel bad. I played it up a lot. Maybe he hates it. I don't know. And I told him about some of the other stores in the area, the ups and downs about some of the other stores, places to go like that. And all of that, we talked 5 or 10 minutes, and I never got his name. So I feel bad. I'm sorry. I never asked your name. I can't give you an actual shout out. Maybe you're somebody that comments on my channel, and I don't know. If you are, comment below. But anyway, a couple days before I ran into this guy, when I was at that store, I picked up the steel sealed copy of Hirax's Hate, Fear, and Power This was one of the ones I left behind when I picked up the Black Sheep and the other sealed copies of the albums I got on that particular day. I thought, well, you know, I'll get it. It wasn't pricey. It was just that when I had bought all those other things, I'd kind of blown my budget for the day. This is Hirax when they were a little more on the hardcore side, a little less metallic. They became a little more metal. It's kind of more aggression. But it was just great to have. It was still sealed. It's not warped. It's an 80s album. What is this, Metal Blade? I think it's another one of those Metal Blade albums. Yeah, Metal Blade. Yeah, Restless Records. So I went ahead and grabbed that. Now, these other ones, I'm kind of like, I hemmed and hawed around, and I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and get them because they were there a couple weeks, but picked up live. So yeah, some Thin Lizzy live album. This is a gold stamp promo, and I looked at it. It looks unplayed. It looked brand new. It's a double record set, and so I couldn't leave it there. It wasn't overpriced. It wasn't bad at all. And again, it was, you know, it's a gatefold, and it was just in great condition. So I'm like, yeah, I left it behind last time because again, I had already bought. Well, that's when I bought that Manowar album, which was more expensive than I really want to go. So I didn't want to bust the budget. This time around, you know, different week, different payday. Went back, picked this up. So yeah, I was glad to get that. Some cool live. I'm always on the lookout for. I don't have a lot of Thin Lizzy, but always on the lookout for it. And this was, you know, like I said, amazing condition. This one was kind of neat to have because I have very limited amount of stuff by this band. I have a lot of their stuff digitally, but nothing really from the early era. And I thought this was almost kind of like the best way to do it. It's like a best of. I picked up the Masters Collection of Status Quo. This one was, as you can see, still sealed and everything. It's a double record set. This is a music on vinyl, I believe. Yeah, it says right on the front. Reissued, it came out a couple years ago. Was it 2021 or 2023? It's not. It's a couple years old. But it's Status Quo's earlier. It's on white. And it's a, you know, it's a best of the early, kind of a best of. It's the what they call the Pi years. So it's the early era. So the whole first album is, I guess, before they were called Status Quo. They were the Spectres and Traffic Jam. And so there's a whole record of stuff from that era. And then it goes on. And it does have, you know, Pictures of the Matchstick Men is one of the one popular songs from like their first album. So it kind of goes back into their Ice in the Sun. These are great songs. These are songs I really, you know, enjoy from the old day. And as I find Status Quo stuff in the wild, I pick it up. This was cool. It's a compilation of some of that early stuff, so it'll tide me over. Because earlier stuff is hard to find. I tend to find the late 70s and late 80s, or you know, 80s type stuff, which is great. I found that one, you know. Actually, I found that one the other day, which I believe I did show, which was, I think, within a week of this one. So 2 Status Quos in a week, but 2 totally different eras. But yeah, so I grabbed this. So that particular booth at that place had these 3 albums, which I had picked up a couple days earlier. So I knew when I went in there, I thought it hadn't been long enough for him to get much new. But let's see anyway. So I popped in there and met somebody who knew me. So that was, you know, it was an interesting day for sure. But that's it. Just some fun things there. The guy still has some decent metal there, some sealed stuff, rough cut, Keel. He had a couple Keel albums. Hype stickers. It makes me, I feel like I don't want to buy things just because they have hype stickers, but he had 3 Keel albums, 2 of the same one, Final Frontier, and one of the other had hype stickers. He had 2. He had an Adam Ant album with the hype sticker. Things like that. And it's like, that is so cool. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Rock on and rock hard.